Welcome to the Cozy Storytime, your peaceful space to unwind and relax. Before we start, make sure to subscribe and like the video for more cozy stories every night. So, where are you watching it from? And what are you doing right now? I hope you're feeling comfortable, ready to let go of the day and slip into a world of calm. Take a deep breath in and slowly exhale. Let the weight of your worries melt away as we embark on this journey together. Tonight's story is one that will guide you through gentle twists and turns, leading you into the heart of a mysterious, enchanted maze, a place where secrets are whispered in the shadows and time itself seems to bend. A place where you'll find not only answers, but the strength to face the unknown. So, let your body relax into the softness around you. Close your eyes if you feel ready. Let the quiet pull of this story guide you into a world of warmth and wonder, where every word is a step closer to rest. Let's begin. The sky above Hogwarts fades not with violence but with grace, as if the heavens themselves are reluctant to bid farewell to the day. The last remnants of sunlight spill like melted gold across the turrets and towers, bathing the ancient stones in a soft, amber hue. You sit with your back against the cool earth, the smell of chamomile drifting lazily from the wild patch by the greenhouses. The grass beneath your fingers is damp and springy, still holding the memory of the afternoon sun. It is the kind of twilight that lingers, like a pause between heartbeats, neither day nor night, simply between. Around you, the courtyard hums with that distinct hush of early evening at Hogwarts. Somewhere nearby, a student hums an off-key lullaby. The distant call of an owl, preparing for its nightly flight, echoes gently above the wind-stirred leaves. You close your eyes for a moment, letting it all wash over you. You don't need a reason to be here. You simply are. And here, that's enough. Beside you, Liz sits cross-legged, her dark cloak pooling around her like spilled ink. A thick book rests on her knees, its spine cracked, pages yellowed by time and perhaps a touch of mischief. Her eyes move quickly over the words, scanning with purpose. She has not spoken in over an hour, yet her presence is as solid and unshakable as the ground beneath you. She smells faintly of parchment, cedarwood, and stormy air. Her gaze is sharp, distant, as though she's always reading something beyond the page, something the rest of the world missed entirely. "I heard they opened the labyrinth again," you say softly, unsure if you're speaking to her or just to the air. Liz doesn't look up, but you notice a small pause, barely a second, in the turning of her page. "They didn't open it," she replies after a long breath. "It was never closed." You turn your head toward her, propped on your elbow, watching her face as the shadows lengthen. She doesn't blink, doesn't offer more. "They say it moves on its own," you continue, voice barely louder than the wind. "That it watches. That it decides who gets out." Liz finally looks at you, and her eyes, gray as morning mist, settle on yours. And yet, they keep going in. A soft silence stretches between you, the kind that doesn't press but rather folds around you like a warm shawl. Somewhere behind the greenhouse, you hear the gentle clatter of tools being put away by Professor Sprout, and the chime of a spell being cast to lock the doors for the night. The castle, too, is beginning to fall asleep. But tonight feels different. Heavier. Like something beneath the surface is stirring. You feel it in your breath, in the rhythm of your heartbeat. You glance at the towers of the castle, the warm glow of candlelight flickering behind stained glass windows. Students will be filing into the great hall for supper soon. The scent of roasted root vegetables and pumpkin bread will drift out from the kitchens. But you don't move. Liz closes her book without a sound. She tucks it into the folds of her robe and stands in one fluid motion. Her gaze lingers on the edge of the courtyard, just where the shadows deepen and the ivy-covered archways begin. The look on her face isn't fear. It isn't curiosity either. It's recognition. You stand too, brushing earth from your robes. You're thinking of going, you say, though it's not really a question. Liz tilts her head slightly. You wouldn't believe what's been found near the entrance lately. Broken timepieces. Ink bottles with no ink. Notes written in languages no one remembers. You swallow, not because you're afraid, but because a tiny, reckless part of you feels drawn to it all. The mystery. The way the labyrinth always seems to want to be discovered. They're meeting near the old greenhouse, Liz adds, almost as an afterthought. The 7th years. Someone found a door that wasn't there before. It's open. A hush settles over you like snowfall. You don't remember agreeing to go. You don't remember saying anything at all. But before you know it, you're walking with her across the darkening courtyard toward the edge where the grass grows thicker and wild thyme creeps along the cobblestones. Your steps are quiet, and the evening wraps around you like velvet. You pass under an archway where the walls whisper with old enchantments, where every stone holds the echo of centuries. The path takes you past the herbology greenhouses, their glass panes glowing faintly in the waning light. Professor Sprout is nowhere in sight. The wind has shifted. It carries with it the scent of turned soil, with leaves, and something faintly metallic. Behind Greenhouse 3, there's an overgrown hedge wall, one you've passed 100 times before without truly noticing. Tonight, it seems different. The ivy that normally drapes lazily over its surface now coils tightly, as though bracing against something. And there, in the center, is a round stone door. Not a door of wood or iron, but of slate, smooth and ancient, etched with runes that shimmer briefly under the twilight. There are 6 students already gathered there, murmuring in low voices. One of them, tall, nervous, holds a lantern that casts long, writhing shadows. Another runs her fingers along the rune-marked surface of the door, her face lit with a kind of quiet awe. No one notices you and Liz at first. You could turn back. No one would blame you. But something holds you still. Liz steps forward, gently placing her palm against the center of the door. Her eyes flutter shut. And the door breathes. You feel it, not just under your feet, but in the air itself. The stone shudders with a sigh, like lungs filling slowly with the cold breath of centuries. The runes flare, not with brightness, but with depth, as though opening into something vast and ancient and impossible. Then it opens. Not with a groan or a screech, but with a silence so perfect it makes your ears ring. Beyond the door, a narrow path winds between towering hedges of blackthorn and bramble. Mist curls along the ground, soft and thick as wool. There are no stars above. No moon. Only darkness. Liz turns to you, her face calm. This isn't the maze they speak of in classes, she says. This one listens. And it remembers. Your hand tightens around your wand, though no spell comes to mind. And yet, you step forward. The ground beneath your feet is cold and pliant. somewhere far ahead, an owl calls once more, but this time the sound is not answered. The last rays of sun vanish behind the castle towers as the stone door seals shut behind you, cutting off the world you knew. And so, you begin to walk. Into the hush. Into the dark. Into the labyrinth that waits. And listens. The stone door closes behind you not with a slam, but with a hush so profound it feels like a final breath being drawn and held. You don't hear the grinding of stone or the groaning of ancient hinges. It simply disappears. The sound of the castle beyond, the hum of the evening air, the rustle of wind through familiar leaves, gone. The silence inside the labyrinth is total, immense, and soft-edged, like falling into snow. For a moment, you are still. Your heart beats louder than it should, thudding in your chest like a distant drum, and each breath you take is louder than the last, amplified by the oppressive quiet around you. Liz stands just ahead, her silhouette outlined faintly by the soft glow of her wand tip, which she's raised instinctively. The light is weak, muted somehow, as though the labyrinth drinks it in, reluctant to let anything shine freely. The path ahead is narrow and slightly curved, flanked on either side by tall walls of twisted, black-green hedges. These are not the neat, trimmed hedges of the castle gardens, nor the wild, familiar tangle near the forbidden forest. No, these hedges grow thick with thorn and memory. Their leaves curl inward like claws, and their branches shift with the faintest whisper of motion, too slow to be seen, too steady to be natural. You can smell them. Not just the usual green scent of growing things, but something more: resin, bitter herbs, and a whiff of candle wax and charred parchment. As you walk, you note the odd softness of the ground. It doesn't feel like earth. Not entirely. It yields slightly beneath your boots, springy and strange, like old velvet soaked through with rain. Mist curls along the path, clinging to your ankles, and every few steps, a faint shimmer, like dust motes catching unseen starlight, glitters and fades. The others who entered with you are somewhere ahead, their footsteps muffled, their voices quieted as if the air itself refuses to carry sound too far. You try to speak, to say something simple, like "Are you alright?" but your voice catches in your throat, and when you force it out, it emerges barely louder than a sigh. Liz. She hears you anyway. She doesn't turn around, but you see her nod. Her posture remains rigid, alert, like someone who is trying to listen for footsteps behind a closed wall. "This path isn't straight," she murmurs. "It's not winding either. It changes." You step closer to her, lowering your wand to the mist below. The fog parts slightly, then rolls back like breath on glass. You notice the stones now, flat, square, ancient. Not brickwork, but something older. Each stone is etched with faint lines, barely visible under the moss that clings to them. You wonder if they're runes, or just the memory of something that used to be written there. "I don't like this," you whisper, not out of fear, but because anything louder feels wrong. Liz doesn't respond, but she slows her steps, allowing you to fall into rhythm beside her. Her eyes scan the hedges warily. You feel the weight of something in the air, not malevolence, not yet, but watchfulness. A presence you cannot name. As if the labyrinth itself is listening to your breath, cataloging your choices, measuring your heartbeat. Ahead, the path splits without warning. Not in two, but in three. Each passage identical at first glance, narrow, misted, edged by those same dark hedges. You stop together, your light casting trembling halos that never quite reach the walls. We should mark it, you say, pulling a bit of charmed chalk from your pocket. You reach toward the hedge beside you, but Liz catches your wrist. No, she says. It won't last. Bruma tried. I read her notes. The labyrinth remembers markings, but it doesn't keep them. It changes the story. You blink at her. You've seen Bruma's notes? Some, Liz answers, eyes still forward. She left them in the old astronomy tower, hidden in the hollow of the telescope mount. She knew no one would look there. Not unless they were already asking the same questions. You digest that in silence. Bruma, elusive, quiet, always scribbling into a leather-bound notebook that never left her side. She hadn't been seen in days. Some said she went home early for the term. Others whispered she went into the labyrinth and never came out. You're not sure which version you believe now. Middle path, you offer, though the words feel meaningless. All three paths breathe with the same unseen rhythm. All three disappear into a soft, shifting fog. Left, Liz says after a moment. Bruma always turned left. She believed the labyrinth was shaped like a coil. She thought left meant inward. You don't ask why she wanted to go inward. You just follow. The left path is narrower than the last. The hedge brushes your shoulder, and you swear it shivers beneath your cloak. The air grows colder here, not winter cold, but damp, like old stone chambers where water has dripped for centuries. You hear something in the distance now, not voices, not quite, but sound, movement, breathing, a whispering without words. You press onward, heart tight in your chest. You try not to look too closely at the hedge walls, but you can't help it. Once, your light catches a shape in the leaves, too symmetrical to be natural. A face? No, just a pattern. Probably. You keep walking. Then you hear it, clear, sudden, and close. A sound like parchment tearing underwater. You freeze. Liz stops too. The sound has no echo, no source. It feels inside your bones, like something trying to slip through the cracks of your being. There, she says, pointing to a break in the hedge just ahead. A tear, not a path, like someone or something had forced its way through the branches. The air beyond is darker, colder, but more real. As if the space behind the hedge has forgotten to be enchanted. You step forward cautiously, parting the vines. Inside is a small clearing, no more than a few meters across. The ground here is stone, smooth and polished, with a pattern of concentric circles carved into it. At the center lies an object, small, metal, old. A compass. You pick it up carefully. It's heavy, surprisingly warm. The needle spins, stops, spins again, then points downward. Not north. Not even toward your entry. Just down. Bruma mentioned the compass, Liz says, her voice nearly reverent. She said it pointed toward the center. Not the way out. Not safety. But the heart of the labyrinth. You hold it up. The needle shifts slightly as you move, always correcting. Always downward. You feel it again now, that sense of being watched, but not with malice. With interest. like something old and vast is studying your choice. We don't have to go further, you say. Liz looks at you. Her face is calm, unreadable. I think we already did. From behind you, the sound comes again. Not footsteps. Not breathing. But a sound like pages turning in a book written by the dark. And you know now, the labyrinth is not just alive. It is waiting. You walk deeper into the labyrinth, the compass cupped carefully in your palm, its needle quivering ever so slightly. It points not forward, not even consistently in one direction, but down, as though gravity itself has become uncertain. The path underfoot, once soft and mossy, now crunches faintly with each step, the ground littered with brittle petals and crumbling leaves that smell of forgotten gardens and old, dry parchment. The hedges thicken. They are not mere walls now, but looming structures, almost architectural in their silence. Branches twist and bend overhead, meeting together in tangled vaults that obscure the sky. You glance upward and find nothing but a shadowy canopy, woven of thorn and leaf and something else, darker, softer, like moth wings or old velvet. No moon. No stars. Just the hush. Liz walks beside you with her usual quiet confidence, yet her eyes flick more often now to the edges of the path. She doesn't speak, and neither do you. Words feel fragile here, likely to shatter into shards if spoken too freely. Every footstep is a question, every breath a whisper. You pass a tree, or what appears to be one. It juts out from the hedge like a malformed limb, bark gnarled and glistening with dew that smells faintly of ink. Its branches hold no leaves, only thin strips of fabric, old ribbons, perhaps, or pages torn from a diary. Some bear writing. One flutters as you pass, and you catch a glimpse. Hear them calling again, but I do not answer. Not anymore. Not since Bruma. You stop, hand hovering. Liz notices. It's a memory tree, she says softly. The labyrinth plants them sometimes. From the minds of those who got too close to knowing. Knowing what? She doesn't answer. Instead, she brushes her fingers lightly over one of the hanging strips, and it curls toward her touch like ivy seeking warmth. You move on. Eventually, the path begins to widen. The hedges retreat, just slightly, enough to give a sense of breath again. The mist that had clung to your ankles thickens here, curling in tendrils around your knees, almost playful in its movements. But there's a taste to it now, metallic, almost like rainwater hitting iron. And then the humming begins. It's not a song. Not truly. But a hum, just below hearing, vibrating softly through the stones beneath your feet. You pause. It continues. A resonance that isn't coming from around you, but within you. As though the labyrinth has tuned itself to your breath, your heartbeat, the very rhythm of your steps. Liz tenses, gaze sharpening. We're close to something. You nod, though you don't know what. You feel it too, like the moment before a memory returns, just on the edge of clarity. The clearing ahead is subtle, revealed not by sight, but by silence. The mist parts, revealing a ring of silver stones set into the earth. At the center, a statue. A figure carved of pale, glistening stone, robed, head bowed, hands outstretched. But there is no face. Only a smooth, blank surface where features should be. You and Liz stop at the edge of the circle. The humming intensifies slightly, not louder, but closer. The air tightens around you. Something about the statue draws your eyes, its hands. In one palm rests a key, iron and old, its surface etched with spiraling runes. The other hand holds nothing, but it is open, expectant. She's waiting, Liz whispers. For what? A trade. You swallow. The air smells now of old metal, faintly rusted, and lavender, oddly calming, but out of place. You step closer, cautiously, one still lit. As your light touches the statue, shadows bloom in the carvings, revealing faint inscriptions around its base. You kneel and read them slowly. What you carry binds you. What you release frees another. The key is not a gift. It is a cost. You glance back at Liz. It's asking for something. It always does, she murmurs. Bruma wrote about this. The faceless warden. A test of intent. You think about that. About what you carry. You don't feel burdened, at least, not in any physical sense. But the statue's open hand seems patient. Unyielding. You reach into your robe and remove the compass. The needle quivers as you hold it near the statue, spinning briefly before stilling, once again pointing downward. Liz watches you carefully. If I get it, you ask, will we lose our way? Maybe, she says. But maybe you'll gain something else. You stare at the blank face, the key resting in the left hand, the silence in the right. The statue does not move. It does not beckon. It simply waits. With a deep breath, you set the compass gently in the statue's open palm. Nothing happens. At first. Then, with a slow creak of ancient magic, the fingers of the stone hand begin to close, cradling the compass. The key in the other hand lifts, just slightly, as though on an invisible string, rising into the air. It floats there, trembling, and then glides toward you, stopping inches from your chest. You reach out. As your fingers touch the metal, it warms, first to the temperature of your skin, then hotter. Not burning, but alive. A heartbeat thrums faintly within it. You close your hand around it. The humming stops. The mist surges forward, swallowing the clearing hole, and suddenly you and Liz are running, no time to think, no space to pause. The vines draw closer again, but the path is changing beneath your feet. The stones shift, patterns swirl, and the key pulses in your palm, guiding, urging, pulling you forward. You pass beneath an archway made of bone-white branches. Beyond it, another path, different from before. Not just in shape, but in air. It is warmer. And darker. Then, at the edge of the shadows, something moves. It is not the hedge. Not the mist. A figure. Tall. Watching. You freeze. Its eyes glow dimly, no color, just light. Like the last breath of a candle before sleep. It does not speak. It does not approach. But the way it tilts its head feels oddly human. Familiar. Liz steps beside you, one raised. It's him, she says quietly. Who? The one Bruma warned about. You barely manage to whisper, what is it? Liz doesn't answer. Instead, she begins to back away slowly, tugging at your sleeve. But as she does, you notice something. The figure, it holds a book, bound in dark leather, unmarked, and hanging from its shoulder, a satchel. Tattered, but unmistakable. Bruma's satchel. She had been here. And now, she wasn't alone. The silence between you and the figure stretches impossibly long until it begins to warp. At first, it's the air that bends, the mist pulling sideways as though tugged by an invisible tide. Then, it's sound itself. You can hear your own pulse pounding behind your ears, but nothing from around you. Not the rustle of leaves. Not Liz's breath. Not even the hush of your own footsteps shifting instinctively backward. The figure doesn't move. And yet, it seems closer now. Just slightly. As though distance in the labyrinth obeys not space, but attention. The moment you see it, the moment you know it, it sees you back. Its robe is dark, woven from threads that shimmer like old oil and storm cloud. The satchel at its side looks almost too ordinary, frayed at the seams, stained with something that could be ink, or ash, or time. But it is the book in its hands that holds you fast. The cover is a deep, dull black, smooth as if polished by years of touch. There is no title, no markings, and yet you know it is old. Older than the stones beneath your feet, older than the labyrinth, perhaps even older than Hogwarts itself. Liz reaches out, hand closing gently around your wrist. She doesn't tug. She doesn't speak. But the message is clear. We can't stay here. You nod, but before you move, the figure does something unexpected. It tilts the book open. Pages flicker. Just once. Then they still. The wind shifts, no louder, no colder, but different. And then you hear it. A whisper. Your name. Spoken not aloud, but within you. As though the air behind your heart had chosen to exhale. You stagger back instinctively, nearly losing your footing. The figure does not chase you. It simply closes the book, places it back beneath one arm, and turns. Disappears. Not vanishing in a blink, but stepping sideways into the hedge. The wall of bramble and black-green thorn parts for it like cloth, swaying gently, and then closes behind without a trace. Only the smell remains, like damp parchment, candle wax, and something far more ancient. Liz doesn't ask if you're alright. She just begins to walk again, faster this time. The path winds tighter. The key in your pocket pulses once, faint and slow, like a heartbeat at rest. The path begins to descend. It starts subtly, barely a slope at first. But soon, the angle steepens. The mist drains away, replaced by a low fog that hugs the walls like memory clinging to stone. The walls themselves are changing too. No longer hedges. Now, bark. Woven roots. They twist and coil upward, forming a narrow tunnel lined with veins of faintly glowing lichen. The light is a soft teal green, like moonlight on river water, and it flickers occasionally, as if breathing. Liz walks ahead, and her shadow trails behind her like a cape, long and shifting. You reach a landing. A platform carved directly into the earth, circular, smooth, too perfect to be natural. Symbols ring the edges, glowing softly with the same lichen light. In the center stands another statue, this one far more humanoid. A woman, young. Her hands are pressed to her chest, and her mouth is open in a silent scream. Vines grow from her eyes, coiling outward across her cheeks. You hesitate at the edge. The moment you do, something whispers. Not your name this time. Not a word, but a memory. Your 7th birthday. A cold wind. The edge of the forbidden forest. You weren't supposed to be there. You smell it. Cinnamon and damp wood. The scent of the trees that watched you run. You step back instinctively. What is this place? You whisper. Bruma called it the listening room, Liz says. She's turned around now, watching you. Her face is pale in the lichen light. The labyrinth hears everything. But here, it speaks. Ow! Liz kneels beside the ring of symbols. She traces one gently with her wand tip, and a soft vibration hums beneath your feet. The statue's mouth flickers, just slightly, like a breath drawn too late. She said the statue repeats truths people try to forget. If you listen long enough, it might say yours. You swallow. You don't want to know what yours is. Not here. Not now. Liz doesn't press. Instead, she points toward a narrow doorway carved into the wall beyond. Unlike the rest of the labyrinth, this one is shaped with intention. The arch is smooth, lined with tiny, moving carvings, quills writing themselves. You can hear faint scratching from within. She hesitates, then steps through. You follow. The room beyond is smaller than you expect. Not a tunnel, not a chamber. Just a space. Walls of pressed root and paper, stacked so tightly they form bookshelves. Not with books, no, but scrolls. Slips of parchment. Torn letters, bundled notes. Thousands of them, each vibrating faintly, as if stirred by breath alone. You reach out to one, and it unrolls itself into the air. You read the words slowly. I dreamed of the path again. This time the vines were weeping. And I saw her, Bruma, at the center. But she wasn't alone. Liz picks up another. Her eyes flick left and right as she reads. Then, softly, these are the thoughts of the lost. You turn in a slow circle. All of these words left behind. Impressions, regrets, final fragments of the ones who came before you. You can feel them, layered like sediment. Some frightened, some curious, a few eager. You move toward the far wall. One scroll glows faintly, brighter than the others. It hums in your chest before you even touch it. You unroll it. The book listened. I told it my fears, and it gave me a name in return. I don't know if it was mine, but when I said it aloud, the labyrinth changed. You freeze. Liz steps beside you, reading over your shoulder. That figure, you say. The one with the book. She nods. It listens. Do you think it's... I don't know, Liz interrupts, but her voice is thinner now. But Bruma called it the Inkheart. A guardian or a prisoner. Maybe both. You lower the scroll slowly. Why would it want our names? Liz doesn't answer. Instead, she reaches into her pocket and pulls out a folded scrap of parchment. You recognize the tight, meticulous handwriting immediately. Bruma. Liz holds it open, and you read the line together. If the Inkheart speaks your name, do not answer. To know you is to change you. You shiver. The scrolls around you begin to rustle. Not just one. All of them. As if something has noticed your presence. Something not bound to the room. Something listening beyond the walls. Liz grabs your arm. We have to move. You don't argue. You follow her as she leads you toward another passage, one that wasn't there before. The labyrinth is reshaping itself again. The air grows thinner. The light darker. And somewhere far behind you, in the place where whispers coil like roots, you hear your name. Spoken again. But this time, it's said with a smile. The walls of the labyrinth are narrowing, as if the very earth is pressing in on you. The path is still there, twisting and writhing ahead like some living thing. The air grows thicker, more oppressive, as the faint glow from the lichen disappears behind you, swallowed up by the darkness. The silence presses down with a weight so thick, it's as though you've entered a different world entirely, a world where the very concept of sound is foreign, and only the tremors beneath your feet remind you that something is alive here, something far older than your own thoughts. Liz moves ahead of you, her silhouette dim in the blackness, the faint flicker of her wand casting long shadows across the ever-changing walls. Her steps are sure, deliberate, but you notice a tightness in the way she moves, an anxiety that has been slowly creeping into her, growing steadily since you first saw the figure in the clearing with the book. The Inkheart, it had been called. It was impossible to forget the way it had looked, how it had seen you. Its eyes, pale and devoid of color, like they were windows to something beyond this world, something boundless, ancient, and cold. You reach out for your own wand, gripping it tightly. The key still rests in your pocket, a cold weight against your side, pulsing with a rhythm you can almost feel in your chest. The labyrinth knows things about you, things you don't understand. And that feeling, that oppressive, suffocating sensation, gnaws at you now. It feels as though the stone itself is watching, waiting. The walls are not just walls, they are eyes. They are ears. The deeper you go, the more you can feel it, something else, a presence that hovers just beyond your perception, flickering like a shadow in your peripheral vision. A shape that doesn't belong, moving with the walls, with the earth, like it is part of the labyrinth itself. You cannot see it, but you feel it. Suddenly, Liz stops in her tracks, her wand held out before her like a shield. "Did you hear that?" she whispers. You stop, straining your ears, but all you hear is the faint rustle of the wind, the soft shifting of the labyrinth around you. "No," you answer, but doubt fills your voice. "What was it?" "I don't know," Liz admits. She sounds unsettled. The calm, collected Liz you know has disappeared, replaced by someone who is no longer certain of the path they walk. You both stand there for a long moment, waiting. You can feel the tension between you like an invisible thread, tightening, stretching, pulling you apart with every passing second. And then it comes again. A whisper. Not in the air around you, but inside your mind. Faint, distant, like the echo of a forgotten dream. It calls your name again. You freeze. This time, There is no mistaking it. The voice is not the labyrinth's. It is yours. Or rather, it was. It is a voice you've heard before. A voice that was never supposed to speak your name in this way. You step back, stumbling, your breath catching in your throat. Liz's eyes flash toward you, concern flickering across her face, but before you can speak, the whisper rises again, louder, sharper. I know you. You look around, but the walls offer no answers. The hedges are as solid and unyielding as before. The darkness presses in around you, not with malice, but with patience. The labyrinth does not rush. It waits. And waits. Liz's hand tightens on her wand, and she takes a step back, her eyes flicking from the path ahead to the shadowed corners of the labyrinth. We're being watched. The words hang in the air, heavy and suffocating. I know, you mutter, your voice barely a whisper. You can feel it now, something watching, something waiting. The presence that has been flickering at the edges of your consciousness is no longer a distant thing. It is right there, pressed close, as if the very stone is alive with it. The ground beneath you shifts again. Not in the usual subtle way, but with an unmistakable tremor, like the earth itself is alive, shifting beneath your feet. A low rumble rises from the center of the labyrinth, pulsing through the air, vibrating through your bones. It's not an earthquake, not a tremor of the natural world, but something far older, far more sinister. Liz turns to you. Her face is pale, her eyes wide. The ink heart. You don't need to ask her what she means. You feel it too. The presence. The watchful eyes. Do you think it knows we're here? You ask, your voice barely rising above the low hum of the labyrinth. Liz shakes her head, her expression unreadable. It's always known. Always watching. You swallow hard, your throat dry. The key in your pocket seems to pulse with a stronger rhythm now, as if it can sense the growing tension, as if it too is alive with some kind of ancient awareness. And then, without warning, the walls of the labyrinth shift again, this time more violently. The stones crack, and the branches of the hedges writhe like snakes, twisting and snapping as though in response to some unseen force. The air grows thick with the scent of damp earth, and the mist begins to swirl around you in thick, choking coils. A voice rings out, loud and sharp, breaking the silence in a way that feels wrong. The voice doesn't come from the figure, not from the ink heart. It comes from within the labyrinth itself. You've come too far. You feel it before you hear it. The ground beneath you gives way, as though the very earth is opening to swallow you whole. Run! Liz shouts. But it's too late. The ground beneath your feet crumbles. The mist thickens and twists into dark tendrils that reach out like hands, grasping, pulling, dragging you down into the darkness. You scream, but the sound is swallowed by the void. The last thing you feel is a cold hand closing around your wrist. The last thing you see is the ink heart standing in the doorway, watching with its pale, empty eyes. And then, everything goes black. It feels as if hours pass before you feel solid ground beneath your feet again. The fall, if it could be called a fall, has been long and disorienting. The sensation of weightlessness, of being pulled through a tunnel of darkness, fades slowly, and your eyes begin to adjust to the low, flickering light. You're lying on the floor. The air smells of damp stone and old wood, but it's colder now, the dampness biting at your skin. You push yourself up, dizzy, disoriented. Liz is beside you, her face pale but unharmed, her eyes wide with fear. She looks around, her hand instinctively going to her wand. "We're not alone," she says, voice trembling. You don't need to ask what she means. The walls are closer here, almost pressing against you. They are not the twisting, shifting walls of the labyrinth anymore. They are solid, ancient stone, and something else is carved into them. Symbols, runes, words, and the voices, they come again. Soft at first, but growing louder, swirling through the air like whispers on the wind. Do you remember? Will you return? The presence is stronger here. Not just watching, listening. The air in the room feels like it's holding its breath. You can almost hear the walls pulse, slow, deliberate, as though they are alive and thinking. Each breath you take feels heavier, thick with the weight of time and forgotten memories. Liz stands beside you, but her presence feels distant now, as though she is there, but not entirely present. Your fingers curl around the wand in your hand, but it feels strangely cold. The pulse of magic within it is muted, as though the very air has swallowed the warmth and the energy from the world around you. The symbols on the walls glow faintly, their edges blurred, as though they are too tired to shine. The silence presses down around you like a suffocating blanket. You turn your head slowly, but there's nowhere to look. The stone walls, etched with strange, shifting symbols, seem to stretch endlessly in all directions. The room has no clear shape, no edges, and it feels as though you've fallen into the very heart of the labyrinth. There is no way to know which direction is forward, which is backward. It is as if you stepped into something far deeper than the physical world, a place where the rules no longer apply. And yet, despite the overwhelming disorientation, you can't shake the feeling that you're not alone. There's something else here. Something that watches. Something that waits. Liz moves slowly, her wand raised, her eyes scanning the shadows in the far corners of the room. "It's different here," she murmurs, her voice low, filled with a kind of awe and terror. It doesn't feel like a part of the labyrinth anymore. It's something else. You nod, feeling the same unease crawling up your spine. This place, this heart of the labyrinth, is not like anything you've encountered before. The air is thick with ancient magic, but there's a feeling of decay in it, too. The kind of decay that comes not from time alone, but from the wear of things that have been lost, abandoned, and forgotten. The room feels old. Not old like a ruin, but old in a way that implies it was never meant to be discovered, never meant to be seen. You take a step forward, and the ground beneath your feet shifts. It's not a violent shift, but a subtle one, as if the very floor itself is reacting to your presence. You stumble, and Liz catches your arm, steadying you. "What is this place?" you whisper, barely able to make the words form. You feel like you're trespassing in a place that was never meant to be explored. "I don't know," Liz replies, her voice barely a breath. "But I think we're where it all began. This is the labyrinth's heart. The source. The source." You repeat the words to yourself, but they don't make sense. The labyrinth is a place of mazes, tricks, and illusions. It's meant to confuse and trap. But the heart? That's something different. That's something real. As if to answer your unspoken thoughts, the walls around you pulse again, the symbols shifting in a way that seems almost alive. The light grows dimmer, the room colder, and the whispers return. They're not just whispers now, they are voices, faint but growing clearer, like distant echoes from another time. Will you remember? Will you come back? You close your eyes for a moment, but the words don't fade. They grow louder, more insistent. You shake your head, trying to block them out, but they burrow deep into your mind, twisting around your thoughts like roots. The ink heart knows. The ink heart. The words send a shiver down your spine. You haven't heard the name in what feels like hours, but it's there now, hanging in the air, pressing against your thoughts. The figure with the book, the one who had watched you, who had known your name. You can almost feel it here, in this place, its presence lingering like a shadow. Liz grips your arm tighter, her fingers cold and trembling. I can feel it too, she whispers. The ink heart is here. It's been waiting. You don't need to ask what she means. You can feel it now, too. The presence that has been following you, watching you, is more than just a watcher. It is a part of the labyrinth, woven into the very fabric of its being. And the more you stand here, in the heart of it, the more you understand, the ink heart is not just a guardian. It is the labyrinth itself. It has always been here. Always. You feel a sudden, inexplicable pull. Your body moves before your mind can catch up, stepping forward toward the center of the room, toward the strange altar that stands there, carved from black stone, its surface smooth and unnervingly still. On it lies a book, its cover identical to the one the ink heart had carried. The same dull, worn leather. The same absence of a title. Only this one is open. The pages flutter slightly, turning on their own, as if some unseen wind is stirring them. Liz steps forward, too, her eyes wide with suspicion. We should go, she says, though her voice trembles with something more than fear. There is curiosity in it now, too. But you can't move. You can't tear your gaze away from the book. It feels as if it's calling to you, beckoning you closer. You reach out instinctively, your fingers brushing against the cold, smooth pages. It knows you, the voice whispers again, the same voice that has been following you, that has been speaking your name in the shadows. You flinch, pulling your hand back. But it's too late. The words have already begun to shift, to change. The ink on the pages writhes, like a living thing, forming shapes and letters that you don't understand. The words rearrange themselves, twisting into patterns that don't belong in any language you know. Do you remember? The voice asks again. Do you remember your name? A sudden wave of dizziness washes over you, and you stagger back, clutching your head. The world tilts, and the walls pulse around you, breathing with a rhythm that matches your heartbeat. It's like the labyrinth itself is alive, drawing energy from you, feeding on your confusion. You gasp for breath, trying to steady yourself. The room seems to close in around you, its edges becoming blurry, the stone walls warping like melting wax. Don't listen to it, Liz says, her voice frantic now. It's trying to pull you in. It's trying to trap you. You shake your head, struggling to clear the fog in your mind. But the words, the whispers, they don't stop. They keep coming, rising in volume until they drown out everything else. You belong here. You are part of the labyrinth now. You turn, desperately searching for Liz, but her face is blurring, her form shifting in and out of focus. The room spins, the shadows growing longer, more twisted. And then, in the farthest corner of the room, you see it. The figure. The ink heart. It's standing there, watching you with those pale, unblinking eyes. The book is still in its hands, its pages turning slowly, methodically. It knows. It has always known. And now, so do you. The room is alive. It is a part of you. The presence you felt following you is not a separate thing. It is you. It is the part of you that belongs here, in the labyrinth. And the ink heart, the keeper of this place, is not a foe. It is a reflection of what you have always been, a lost soul, trapped in this twisted maze, unable to remember where you began. You step forward, the words echoing in your mind. You belong here. The labyrinth is not trying to trap you. It is trying to bring you home. The labyrinth's pulse quickens as you step closer, drawn irresistibly toward the figure standing at the far edge of the room. The very air feels thick with ancient power, vibrating with every step you take, the walls themselves groaning in quiet recognition. The ink heart, that shadowed entity that had stalked you from the moment you first stepped into the twisting pathways of this cursed maze, stands before you now. It does not move, does not speak, but its presence looms over you like an unspoken truth, hanging heavily in the air. Its pale, featureless eyes fixate on you with an intensity that reaches into the very marrow of your bones. Liz is still beside you, but her voice has vanished, leaving only her fearful gaze to follow you. There is nothing left in her eyes but confusion, wonder, and the barest flicker of terror. She is rooted to the spot, but something compels you to move forward. The room seems to warp around you, pulling you into a trance, as though the stone beneath your feet is no longer solid but fluid, stretching and shifting in time with the steady thrum of the labyrinth's heartbeat. The whispering voices, those that had tormented you since you entered this cursed place, swell once again. But this time, they are no longer mere whispers. They are a chorus, their pitch rising in a chilling crescendo, wrapping themselves around your thoughts, drowning you in their echo. Come closer. The words drift on the air like smoke, curling and twisting with seductive intent. You know the truth. Your heart races, but there is something else now. A sense of recognition. A deep, buried understanding stirs within you, something long forgotten, a piece of yourself that you have been too afraid to acknowledge. You know these whispers. You know this feeling. This place. This presence. It is not the labyrinth itself. No. It is the ink heart, or rather, what the ink heart has always been. A keeper. A guardian. A guide. A mirror. The ink heart's eyes do not blink, do not waver. There is a quiet understanding between you and it, a recognition that transcends time and space. It knows what you are, and you can feel it in the marrow of your being. You are not merely here to escape. You are here because you are meant to be here. This is your place, your destiny. The truth claws at the edges of your mind, pulling at the very fabric of your memories. A memory not your own, but one that feels so intimately familiar it sends shivers through you. It is a whisper of a time long past, of voices that came before, of hands that once reached out to touch the ancient stone walls of the labyrinth, to carve the runes that now surround you. You belong here. The thought slithers into your thoughts like a serpent, curling around your consciousness until it suffocates all resistance. The more you fight it, the deeper it burrows, until the edges of your perception blur and fade into darkness. You're not sure how long you've been standing there, staring into the Inkheart's gaze, but the moment seems timeless. Every second feels stretched, as if the very fabric of reality is distorting around you. Time no longer exists in this place. There is only the weight of the Inkheart's gaze, drawing you deeper into its quiet, implacable certainty. Liz's voice shatters the silence, though it sounds far away and disconnected. Stop! Don't listen to it, she calls, her voice weak with panic. This is not right. This is not you. Her words cut through the thick air, but they feel distant, disconnected from the truth that is sinking into you. You can feel her fear, but it's like an echo, a fading whisper in the face of something far more overwhelming. The Inkheart's lips part, and the first words you've heard it speak fall from its mouth, a low, cold murmur that vibrates in the air around you. Do you remember? Your mind flashes back to the first moment you encountered it, the cold, indifferent gaze, the book clutched in its hands, and the unsettling certainty with which it watched you. It knew you then, and it knows you now. You have always known. You try to shake your head, but the thought clings to you like cobwebs, its touch impossibly persistent. The room around you tilts, the stones seeming to ripple like water, and you are drawn forward once again, unable to resist. Every instinct screams at you to pull away, to flee from the figure that stands before you. But there is something inside you that knows this is the moment when the truth will finally be revealed, the moment when everything will make sense. You take another step, your foot falls silent on the shifting stone, and the air seems to grow colder. The whispers are louder now, not a single voice but 100, all of them calling you home. Their words come in waves, crashing against the shore of your consciousness, and you can feel yourself slipping, surrendering to them. This is your path. You have always been here. Liz steps forward, her expression frantic, her hand trembling as she reaches out for you. Please, listen to me, she pleads, but her voice is drowned out by the rising tide of whispers. We need to leave. We can still escape. You're not. But the moment she reaches out, the ground beneath her feet shifts again, and the walls of the labyrinth pulse with a terrifying rhythm. The stone ripples, and before you can blink, Liz is thrust backward, falling into the shadows at the edge of the room. You try to call out to her, but your voice is caught in your throat, smothered by the overwhelming presence of the Inkheart. Its eyes lock with yours again, and for the first time, you feel the weight of its gaze fully, like a pressing, unyielding force that compels you to listen, to understand, to remember. You are not lost, the Inkheart says, its voice like the rustle of pages turning. You have always been here. You are one of us. The labyrinth does not deceive. It only calls those who are meant to return. The words crash over you, and in that instant, a flood of memories rises within you, memories that do not belong to your past, but to something older, something long forgotten. Faces flash in your mind's eye, familiar yet distant. They are the faces of those who came before you, those who built this labyrinth, those who shaped it with their hands, their blood, their very essence. They were lost too. They were the first to hear the call of the labyrinth. They were the first to forget. And now, they are part of it. They are bound within these walls, just as you are. The weight of the revelation presses down on you, and for the first time, you understand. The labyrinth is not just a prison. It is a cycle, a loop, Those who wander its paths are not merely lost, they are chosen to return. The Inkheart, the keeper, the guide, it has always been watching. Always waiting for those who belong here to remember. You stagger backward, the air pressing in on you like a physical force, and suddenly, you can see it, the endless maze of walls and corridors stretching out before you. They are not just walls. They are memories. Trapped fragments of lives that have been lost to the passage of time, bound to the labyrinth for eternity. And you are no different. You always knew this. You just never wanted to face it. You are part of this. The whisper is louder now, a booming echo that fills every corner of your mind, and you fall to your knees, overwhelmed by the weight of it all. But in that moment, something inside you stirs. A flicker of defiance. No, you will not be lost. You will not be trapped. You push yourself to your feet, shaking, trembling, but unwilling to surrender. Liz, you need to get her out. You glance toward the shadows where Liz fell, and for the first time, the Inkheart's gaze flickers. There is something in its eyes now, a faint glimmer of something like recognition, something like compassion. But it is too late. The room begins to shift again. This time, the walls are not just walls. They are closing in. The walls of the labyrinth begin to close in, their smooth stone surfaces grinding together with a terrifying sound that echoes through your bones. The air, once thick with the weight of ancient magic, now feels crushing, oppressive. The whispers are louder, more insistent, twisting around your thoughts, urging you to surrender, to accept the truth that has been waiting for you all along. You can feel the ground tremble beneath your feet as if the very foundation of the labyrinth is shifting, preparing to swallow you whole. The Inkheart stands before you, its pale, unblinking eyes watching your every movement, its silence like a living thing, heavy with expectation. The whispers around you grow in volume, becoming a deafening chorus, a rising tide of voices that threatens to drown you in their call. You belong here, the Inkheart's voice echoes, its tone both cold and soothing, as though it is offering you a truth too powerful to ignore. You are one with the labyrinth. You have always been here. You are the answer. The words strike you like a blow to the chest, stealing your breath. The weight of their meaning sinks into your very soul. You can feel the truth, the undeniable truth, that this place, this twisting maze of stone and shadow, is more than just a prison, it is a cycle. A cycle of souls, endlessly trapped, endlessly lost, and you are one of them. You are no different from the others who have wandered these halls before you, lost to time, to fate, to the call of the labyrinth. But something stirs within you. A spark, however small, flickers in the dark recesses of your mind. You are not like the others. You are not just another lost soul to be swallowed by this eternal maze. You have choices that have always been yours, even if you didn't know it. Liz, you need to find her. You need to break the cycle. You need to escape. But the Inkheart's presence is like a heavy weight pressing down on you, pushing against your chest, forcing you to confront the truth it has whispered to you. It is both a guide and a warden, its gaze implacable, its purpose undeniable. It knows you. It knows your fear. It knows your longing for freedom. But it also knows that the labyrinth is not a place to escape from. It is a place where one must return. The ground beneath you shifts again, and the stone walls quiver with an ancient, restless energy. The whispers rise in intensity, becoming a single, unified voice that rings out through the labyrinth like a bell tolling for the lost. You cannot escape what you are. The ink heart speaks again, its voice both a command and an invitation. You are part of the labyrinth. You are part of this endless cycle. There is no way out. There is only returning. You close your eyes for a moment, trying to steady your breath. The weight of the ink heart's words threatens to overwhelm you, but deep within, you know that you cannot surrender. You cannot accept the fate it offers. You are not just a part of the labyrinth. You are not just another lost soul. You are more. Suddenly, a flash of light cuts through the suffocating darkness, a flicker of warmth in the cold, still air. You open your eyes, and for the briefest moment, you see her, Liz. She stands at the edge of the room, her figure outlined in a faint, ethereal glow. Her eyes meet yours, and for a heartbeat, there is nothing but understanding between you. She knows what you are feeling, what you are thinking. She knows the choice you must make. The ink heart's gaze flickers toward her, and for the first time, there is a hint of something like emotion in its eyes, something almost human. But it does not move, does not speak. It merely watches, waiting for you to make your decision. You take a step toward Liz, your heart pounding in your chest. The whispers intensify, a cacophony of voices rising to drown out everything else. They beg you to stay, to embrace your fate, to accept the truth that you are a part of this place, that you will always be bound to it. You cannot escape. You are lost. But you do not listen. You cannot listen to them. There is something greater inside you, a force of will, a spark of defiance that refuses to be consumed by the labyrinth. You are not lost. You are not bound to this place. You are not meant to remain here forever. Liz's presence is a beacon in the darkness, a light that draws you forward, that calls you home. You focus on her unwavering strength, and the bond you share. She is the one who helped you find your way when you were lost. She is the one who pulled you out of the shadows when you had given up. And now, it is time for you to do the same for her. You take another step, and the labyrinth groans around you, the walls trembling with a low, menacing hum. The air grows colder, and the whispers intensify, but you do not waver. You are stronger than the labyrinth. You are stronger than its whispers. You are not lost. The thought rings in your mind, clear and unwavering. You are not lost. You are found. With every step, the weight of the labyrinth's power lessens. The walls that once seemed so insurmountable begin to crumble, their jagged edges fading into nothingness. The whispers falter, their voices silenced by your determination. Liz's hand reaches out to you, and in that moment, everything falls away, the shadows, the cold, the weight of the past. There is only you and her, standing together, ready to face the unknown. The ink heart moves for the first time since you entered the room. It steps forward, but there is no malice in its movement, no anger. It is not a threat. It is simply a presence, an ancient force that has watched over the labyrinth for longer than you can comprehend. Its gaze is still fixed on you, but now there is a flicker of something else in its eyes, something that resembles a kind of sadness. You cannot leave, the ink heart says, its voice quiet, almost resigned. But you can change. The labyrinth will always call to you. It will always return to you. But you do not have to be bound to it. You can be free. The words are a gift, a revelation. The labyrinth does not have to be a prison. It does not have to be the place where you are lost forever. It is a place of transformation, a place where souls can change, can evolve. And now, you have the choice. The ground beneath your feet shakes again, but this time, it is not the violent tremor of the labyrinth's power. It is the tremor of something breaking free. The walls begin to shift, not in an attempt to trap you, but to open a path, an escape. Liz steps forward, her hand still outstretched, and you take it without hesitation. Together, you walk forward, the path ahead of you clearing, the shadows receding. The ink cart watches silently as you move past it, and for the first time, you feel its presence not as a threat, but as a watcher, a silent witness to your journey. You do not know what lies ahead, but for the first time since you entered the labyrinth, you feel the stirrings of hope. The path ahead is uncertain, shrouded in mystery, but you are not afraid. The labyrinth has shown you its secrets, its truth, and now you have the power to shape your own future. The walls fall away completely, and the world outside the labyrinth stretches before you, a world filled with possibility, with freedom. The whispers fade, and the echoes of the past grow distant. And you walk forward, not lost, but found, with Liz by your side. Together, you are free. The end. As this story comes to a close, take a moment to settle into the stillness. Feel the calm wash over you, wrapping you in its warmth. The journey we've shared tonight may have been full of twists and mysteries, but now, as the world outside fades into silence, you are safe. All that matters now is the peace of this moment. Let the gentle whispers of the labyrinth fade away, and with each breath, feel yourself sinking deeper into relaxation. You are free, and you are at rest. Allow yourself to drift, letting the quiet comfort of this story carry you into a restful sleep, where dreams flow as peacefully as a stream. Thank you for joining me tonight. Rest easy, knowing you are exactly where you need to be. Sweet dreams.